The Tooth Collector, by Mike Robertson. It started with a loose tooth. Ellie, 8 years old, sat at the kitchen table, wiggling the bottom front tooth that had been dangling for days. Her mom, distracted with dinner, barely glanced over when Ellie asked, "What happens if you don't leave the tooth for the tooth fairy?" Her mom shrugged. "When she just doesn't come, sweetie." "Why?" Ellie frowned. "What does she do with all the teeth?" "I don't know. Makes necklaces out of them? Magic dust? Who knows?" Her mom teased, turning back to the stove. Ellie didn't laugh. That night, lying in bed with the tooth clenched in her fist, she stared at the dark ceiling and wondered. She didn't trust the tooth fairy. The tooth fairy came for the first time that night. Ellie woke up to a strange sound, a faint clicking noise, like fingernails tapping against a table. She held her breath, the darkness of her room pressing down on her. The clicking grew louder, closer, until it seemed to echo from her closet. She didn't dare move. When the closet door creaked open, Ellie squeezed her eyes shut, clutching her blanket. Something moved in the shadows. The clicking noise was now accompanied by a raspy breathing, wet and hollow as if the thing struggled to fill its lungs. Ellie peeked, just barely. A figure crouched in the corner, its shape shifting as if it couldn't decide what to be. The moonlight from her window caught the glint of sharp, crooked teeth in an unnaturally wide grin. Its eyes glowed faintly, a sickly yellow hue, and its long fingers ended in black, claw-like nails. The tooth fairy. It slithered toward her bed, its joints popping with each step. It stopped at her bedside and tilted its head, the yellow eyes narrowing as it stared at her clenched fist. Ellie didn't move. She couldn't. The thing leaned closer, its breath smelling of rotted wood and something sickly sweet. It raised one clawed hand, the nails clicking together, and whispered in a voice like dry leaves, "You didn't leave it for me." Ellie's hand opened involuntarily, the tiny tooth tumbling onto the mattress. The tooth fairy snatched it up, holding it to its face as if admiring a jewel. Then, without another word, it retreated, melting into the shadows of the closet. The door slammed shut. Ellie tried to tell her mom the next day, but her mom just smiled and said, "What an imagination!" That night, Ellie left her next loose tooth under the pillow, terrified of what would happen if she didn't. The tooth fairy returned anyway. This time, Ellie woke to find it crouched at the foot of her bed, a pile of teeth cradled in its bony hands. Not just baby teeth, some were cracked, yellowed, or too big to belong to a child. "I collect them all," it rasped. "Not just yours." It placed one of the teeth on her nightstand as if leaving her a gift. But this tooth wasn't hers. It was jagged with a long root still attached, stained with dried blood. Ellie began screaming. After that night, Ellie's mom found her quieter, withdrawn. She refused to speak of the tooth fairy again, no matter how much her mom joked or teased. Ellie never left another tooth under her pillow, but it didn't matter. The tooth fairy still came. Every time Ellie lost a tooth, she'd wake up to find it missing, replaced by another, a stranger's tooth, dirty and chipped, left in its place. The visits grew worse. The thing began whispering to her in the dark, its voice thin and sharp like needles. "Teeth are memories," it hissed one night, crouching beside her bed. "They carry the essence of who you are. I'll have them all eventually." Ellie started to believe it. Her teeth began to ache, even the ones that weren't loose. Some nights she'd wake to find blood on her pillow, her gums throbbing. Once she saw it in the mirror, a shadow behind her, grinning its terrible grin as her reflection cried. One night, Ellie couldn't take it anymore. She told her mom everything, sobbing as she recounted the visits, the whispers, the strange teeth. Her mom held her close, promising to keep her safe. That night, her mom stayed in the room with her, a baseball bat resting against the wall. But Ellie woke up alone. The bat was on the floor, bent and splintered. Her mom's side of the bed was empty, and the sheets were streaked with blood. On the nightstand sat a single tooth, long, white, and perfectly intact. Ellie recognized it immediately. It was her mother's. From the closet came the familiar sound, clicking, rasping breaths. The tooth fairy wasn't finished.